Bob Nestor Marley was a Jamaican singer, songwriter, and musician who became an international icon and one of the most influential figures in the history of music, particularly in the genre of reggae. Robert Nestor Marley was born on February 6, 1945 in 9 Mile, Jamaica. He rose from humble beginnings to become a cultural and spiritual symbol. Bob Marley's parents were Sidelia Booker and Novel Marley. His father was an English-born Jamaican and his mother an adolescent black woman. The pair intended to tie the North, but Novel departed Kingston before it could take place. Having only briefly met his son, Novel passed away in 1955. Bob had 11 siblings, including his half-brothers Richard and Anthony and his half-sister Pearl. Bob's father, Novel, had 7 other children from his other relationships. As a youngster in his hometown of St. Anne, Bob's natural mystic was awakened and he began to read psalms. However, his practice was frowned upon when Bob moved to Back O'Wall in Trenchtown, Kingston. The young Marley complied, but not before predicting that he would one day build his own recording studio and pressing plant that would become world-renowned. Due to his mixed ancestry, Marley had an infamously difficult childhood, particularly after relocating with his mother from their small rural community to Kingston when he was a little boy, joining the influx of rural immigrants to the capital in the 1950s and 1960s. They landed in Trenchtown, a West Kingston slum named after the sewage that runs through it. There, Marley shared lodgings with a youngster his age, Bunny Neville O'Reilly Livingston. They created music together, building a guitar out of bamboo, sardine cans, and electrical wire, and learning harmonies from local singer Joe Higgs. Because of the strong mistrust that existed between the black community and white people in Jamaica during the colonial era, Marley was harassed by neighbors who called him names like white boy instead due of his tenacity, fearlessness, and street fighting prowess. Marley and Bunny, like many others of their time, listened to New Orleans radio and embraced the sounds of rhythm and blues, mixing them with elements of their own musical style to create ska, a then new musical genre. Despite his mother's encouragement to study a skill, Marley soon abandoned a welder apprenticeship to pursue his passion for music. In the 1960s, Peter McIntosh, later Peter Tosh, joined Bunny and Marley's musical sessions with a real guitar, and the three created the Wailing Wailers. During this time, Marley recorded a few songs with producer Leslie Kong, who was introduced to him by local ska celebrity Jimmy Cliff. Bob Marley, as a renowned musician and a reggae music hero, had songs that perfectly combined political and spiritual themes, fusing aspects of Rastafarianism, African spiritualism, and Jamaican culture. His songs frequently addressed issues of social justice, oppression, and freedom. He led the charge in the struggle against economic and racial injustice and openly denounced apartheid and South Africa's repressive governments. In addition, he was a vocal supporter of decriminalizing marijuana, which was evident in his lyrics. Many of his songs have gone on to become timeless masterpieces, and his impact is still felt today and all throughout the world. The peace, freedom, and unity that Bob Marley espoused will continue to inspire future generations. When Bob Marley was in school, Benjamin Zephaniah, one of Britain's most prolific current poets, wrote him a letter that read, "I'm a poet from Birmingham, Nobody in England actually listens to me. What do you think about my poems? Incredibly, he received a handwritten response from Jamaica in which the musician told him, "Young man, Britain needs you. Keep doing what you are doing." In 2019, Zephaniah unveiled an English Heritage Blue plaque at 42 Oakley Street in London, citing the letter as one of the key reasons he felt inspired to pursue dub poetry, the form for which he is now best known. "It really inspired me to keep doing what I was doing," he said. "At the time, there was no spoken word poetry. There was no dub poetry. So to read those words, Marley is credited with inspiring a generation of Black British teenagers with his international message of love and unity." According to BBC Radio 6 Music's Don Letts, Bob believed in music as a tool for social and personal change. Marley's music often carried messages of love, peace, and social justice, reflected his deeply held beliefs and experiences growing up in Jamaica. His band, the Wailers, initially consisted of Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bonnie Wailer, and they achieved international fame in the 1970s with his hits like No Woman No Cry, Redemption Song, One Love, and Buffalo Soldier. Apart from its musical achievement, Marley was also known for his Rastafarian faith, which influenced his music and his lifestyle. His commitment to social change made him a symbol of resistance against oppression and injustice. A little known and rather shocking fact about Marley is that he briefly lived in the United States in the mid-1960s and then again on and off in the 1970s. He first followed his mother, Sedalia Booker, to the Delaware after she remarried, residing near her in Wilmington, where she managed Roots, a Jamaican music shop. Interestingly, Marley worked as a lab assistant at DuPont. Accounts of his time in Delaware vary, but by 1969, he had returned to Jamaica and started recording with the Wailers. He later returned to the United States. His son Stephen Marley was born in Wilmington in 1972, but the Marley family has not specified how long. Later, he worked at the Chrysler assembly plant in Newark, where he was supposedly paid under the name Donald Marley. He penned Night Shift in the 1976 and is supposed to have been inspired by his forklift driving work in Chrysler's components warehouse. Aside from music, football was Marley's interest in life, and he surrounded himself with fans of the sport. In the 1970s, he made Jamaican international footballer Alan Skill Cole his tour manager, and he was frequently seen playing with his squad in parks, fields, parking lots, and even recording studios. Marley's preferred club is debatable, with many claiming that he backed Tottenham Hotspur, but we know for certain that he was a major Pele fan and was very interested in the Brazilian squad in general. He allegedly told a journalist, and I quote, "If you want to get to know me, you will have to play football against me and the Wailers." He got married to Rita Anderson in 1966 when he was 21 years old and stayed married to her until his death in 1981. For Bob Marley and his wife, Rita, indulging in extramarital affairs was not a big deal, or so it seems. While their marriage lasted, Rita and Marley not only had 3 biological children together, they both had 11 other children between them. According to the information available on the family, while Bob had 8 children with 8 other men apart from Rita, Rita had 3 children with 3 other men, 1 before she met and married Bob, and 2 others while still married to Bob. 2 years before Rita and Marley were married, she had a daughter by another man. Bob adopted the girl, Sharon, Born on November 23, 1964, immediately he married Rita. And although the two of them had 3 biological children together, Bob regularly fathered children with other women, such that some of the children he had with those women were born a few months apart from those he had with Rita. In fact, the reggae music legend described his love for children this way, and I quote, "Children are wonderful. It don't take plenty, you know. Just a nice girl who don't take birth control. Sexual intercourse is a beautiful thing." End of quote. Tragically, Marley's life was cut short when he succumbed to cancer on May 11, 1981 at the age of 36. Despite his untimely death, his music and legacy continue to inspire generations worldwide, transcending boundaries of culture, language, and geography. Bob Marley's influence extends far beyond music. He is regarded as a symbol of resistance, peace, and cultural pride. His image adorns posters, t-shirts, and murals across the globe, and his music continues to inspire generations of artists and activists. In 1994, he was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, cementing his place as one of the greatest musicians of all time. Bob Marley remains one of the most enduring and beloved figures in the history of popular music.